Yeah. What is going on, spooky gang? And all of my horror lovers out there, it is your boy Tech. Welcome back, or welcome for your first time to Terror of Tech. It is your boy Tech, and we coming at y'all with another banger. And this time it is the movie that came out earlier this year named Oddity. I can't wait to jump into this review with you guys, but before we do that, y'all go ahead and subscribe to the kid. I think we're probably only 2 to 3 subs away from 1K subs. That would truly mean the world to me. For all of my day one subs, y'all know we started this thing beginning of this year in January, and just to see the channel grow this way, it just means the world to me. So hitting that 1K sub mark is just gonna mean that much more. So yeah, y'all go ahead and look out for your boy. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Like the video. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this review. So, the movie Oddity. Just to give a quick synopsis of this movie, a psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. So basically, this movie starts out with this lady named Danny, and she's brutally murdered by someone. And the killer was thought to be this person named Declan, who is a patient at the psych ward. I didn't think Declan would be the killer in the opening minutes of the movie. He just seemed like he was genuinely concerned about Danny's well-being, and like essentially he was letting her know that, hey, I was sitting here being a little creep, but I saw somebody sneak into your house without you noticing it, and you have the doors locked, and I'm trying to tell you to come out so you can like be safe because somebody's actually in there with you. And so like the way the movie is panning, like you don't know if it's gonna be something more paranormal, like he saw like a demon or an apparition or something like that go in, or just what it is. Like you just have no idea, but they just do like long pan shots to like the corner, just like where it's dark and stuff like that, where it's just like you don't see anything, and it's just like, and the movie pretty much hints at her actually opening up the door for him, and that he killed her. And so as the movie progresses, after her death, her husband comes and visits her twin sister named Darcy. Like I said, she's a psychic medium or a clairvoyant, or whatever term you would like to use. And she's also blind, by the way. But yeah, he comes to visit her in her Oddity store, where she has a bunch of different items that are, either possessed or just has some type of whatever it may be. But yeah, while they're in the store, there's a lot of foreshadowing with this item that she has. It's a bell. And she told her sister's husband, Ted, so her brother-in-law, that the bell is haunted and the last 2 people who rang the bell died. So, and of course he doesn't believe that. So yeah, there's a lot of foreshadowing with that. And also, mind you, Ted is a psychiatrist at the facility that the patient escaped from. So think about that too. And so with her psychic abilities, anytime that she touches something, especially with it being a personal belonging to a particular person, when she touches the item, it essentially tells her everything about that person, all of their thoughts and, their history and all of that good stuff. But at this point, she thinks Declan, the patient from the psych ward, truly is the person who killed her. So she possesses this wooden man that it's just like a man that's just made out of wood, but that's just simply what it is for the most part. So she possesses this. She then goes to the psych facility and she kills Declan, piece from his eye, or like his iris or whatever you want to call it. And she touches it, and then that's when she realizes, oh snap, wait, he actually didn't kill her. Like something's not quite right. And so this raises further suspicion for Darcy, and she decides to visit the home where her sister was murdered and her sister's husband Ted lives. And she decides to drop by with a gift. The gift is the wooden man in the box. And when she gets there, she's greeted by Ted and also someone named Yana, which is essentially Ted's mistress. But she doesn't necessarily know that at this moment. But yeah, like her whole point of going there was to get more information on, why her sister died, or see if she can find any clues or anything like that that'll give her more information. And so, like I said, with the wooden man being there, the wooden man is essentially the star of the show. Everything about it has this nice little, almost is very creepy, one, just the way it looks, but it's also a level of comedic relief, just because the wooden man, anytime it does something, it's because it's possessed by Darcy. And so throughout the movie, a lot of times, like, you'll see either the wooden man in the box, and then all of a sudden he's not in the box and now he's sitting at the kitchen table, or you'll see wooden man will be looking one way and all of a sudden he's looking another way, and then just making like this weird face with his mouth all wide open and everything. Like, it's just the star of the show. It just is great, even though the wooden man doesn't say a single thing or utter a single noise. It's just great to have it in the movie from a comedic aspect, and just because it truly is creepy, especially in a couple of shots in the way that they do it. And so fast forward in the movie, Darcy ends up finding out that it actually was an orderly named Ivan who went there and killed her sister. And then she also uncovers that Ted was the one that hired him to do it. And the whole reason why Ted even decided to do that was because he wanted to keep the house that he invested all this money in. And then obviously he had Yana as his mistress, and he wanted to be with Yana, but he knew if he tried to divorce Danny, Darcy's sister that died, there's a good chance that she would never get over it and she would never leave him alone or anything like that. So this guy comes up with the idea of, yeah, let me go ahead and kill her so I can just like completely get rid of her and get her out the way. So like I said, he sends Ivan to go do that. And so eventually what Darcy decides to do is she confronts Ted. Ted essentially assures her that, that never would happen or anything like that. And then he told her that, look, I'm going to go get help. You just stay here. I'm going to leave this phone here. So when I call you, you just come pick up the phone. Well, to Darcy, she somewhat believed that. And so she was sitting there waiting for the phone call once he left. Well, for Ted, it was an elaborate plan because there was like a opening in the floor. So there was like a trap door, basically. So he lifted up that part. And like I mentioned earlier, she's blind, so she never would have seen the hole. So he opened up a hole, and then the hole is like almost directly in front of the path of where he set the phone. So like I said, he was telling her to wait on the phone call and then come pick up the phone. Well, obviously, as she starts to go approach the phone, she ends up falling in the damn hole. She basically ends up busting her head wide open on the back side, so like the back of her head. So, and then she's just sitting there bleeding out. And since she didn't pick up the phone, that pretty much let Ted know that, okay, she probably fell in that hole. And so we should be good. So he decides to go ahead and send Ivan out to go make sure that she's dead. And if she's not dead, then pretty much make sure you finish the job. And so when Ivan gets there, he sees her laying on the ground, sitting there bleeding. And right as he was getting ready to do his thing, Darcy has this last little jolt of energy, and she essentially possesses the Wooden Man one more time with as much energy as she could possibly use. And so the Wooden Man is stalking Ivan all around the house, and he's trying to get away from it. He ends up jumping off of the balcony to the bottom floor, pretty much right beside where Darcy was. And by the time the Wooden Man comes back down the stairs and is trying to get him to finally kill him, he grabs his hand, but Darcy ends up dying right in the process. So the Wooden Man clearly has no more abilities or powers or anything like that because he only has powers through Darcy possessing him. Ivan ends up getting away, but when he gets back to the psych ward, Ted has him strapped to the bed in his own room as if he's some patient too. And Ivan is sitting there just like, I want to go to a priest. I want to be able to pray and all of this good stuff. And I know that this has to do with some form of foreshadowing with the praying thing, because praying happened to be some type of theme or running throughout the movie, because you see Ivan in multiple situations where he's walking down the halls and he sees, people that look like they're praying by their bedside or anything like that. He asks them why they're praying. And now all of a sudden he's in a position where he wants to pray. He tells Ted all about the whole Wooden Man and all this good stuff, and Ted does not believe him one bit. And part of the reason why he won't even let him go see a priest is because he knows that if he goes to see a priest to confess, then likely either Ivan or the priest himself is probably going to go alert the authorities. So he, for Ted, as elaborate as he's been this whole time, he's not letting that fly. So he also devises this plan where he ends up letting another patient out of their psych ward, and it seems like this guy is like really chill. And like I said, Ivan is strapped to his bed, so this other patient comes in and starts biting his damn foot off. So I'm assuming that he went in there and pretty much killed him, so Ivan wouldn't be any form of a threat to Ted in terms of turning him in or ratting him out and all that good stuff. And so the movie fast forwards and Ted is heading back home. And also, by the way, the Wooden Man didn't have any more abilities or anything like that, and that's partially why Ted didn't believe Ivan to begin with, is because Ted burned the Wooden Man down to straight ashes and nothing happened at all. So, like I said, in his mind, he's sitting there thinking like, yeah, what are these people talking about, doing all this possession and all spirits and apparitions and all this good stuff? He doesn't believe in any of that. And I think that's partially why they were emphasizing so much of the prayer, because he doesn't believe in pretty much anything. And now, even somebody like Ivan is sitting there praying because they've seen and witnessed something that nobody else would believe. And it also goes back to the beginning of the movie where he didn't believe that those haunted possessions and stuff like that Darcy owned in her Oddity store, he didn't believe any of that was real or anything like that, and that she was just making a living, basically being a phony. So Ted gets back to his crib, right? And then he notices that he has a gift. And the gift is one last gift that Darcy could give him. And of course, that gift is that same bell that he was looking at when he was in her Oddity store. And so he's sitting there looking at the bill, and he's just sitting there like, tough. He's just sitting there looking down at it, just with a smirk, like he's just some know-it-all, like, there's no way that this is real, blah, 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 like this isn't gonna do anything. So he's just sitting there at the table with a little smirk. He sets the bell down on the table, and he decides to ring it. And then there's a nice shot from in front of him, so you can see behind him some type of entity that is sitting right behind him. So it ends up obviously showing that all of these possessions and all that stuff is actually real, and it's something that he should believe in. And then pretty much the movie cuts off. And honestly, the movie raises a bunch of questions. So like thinking about the prayer and how deep into that, and like what does that really signify, and what is the symbolism with all of that in non-believers. But yeah, the questions that you do have about the movie aren't necessarily bad things. It's not like, oh, this doesn't make sense, this is stupid, or anything like that. No, they're actually thought-provoking type questions that you would have. So yeah, like I said, that is it, Spooky Gang. Y'all drop down and let me know what y'all think of Oddity, and what did you think of some of the symbolism and the themes and all of those aspects that were recurring throughout the film. Overall, honestly, I think the movie's solid. There really isn't too much negative to say about it. Is it just some spectacular movie in my opinion? No, but I think there were some solid acting performances. Like I said, the Wooden Man himself kind of stole the show just because of, like I said, the different positions that he would be in, and then he'd be one place and then all of a sudden he's not, and just all that good stuff. So it adds like a nice, like I said, a nice creepiness, but also a little bit of humor, because it's just hilarious just to see it. Yeah, overall it's really good. And one funny thing that I wanted to mention is, I don't know what it is, but I can't hear worth a damn without subtitles. I watched this movie with no subtitles, and I promise y'all, in the first 15-20 minutes of watching this movie, I had no idea what the hell was going on. Like, I didn't read the synopsis or anything. Like, I know that this movie is, considered in a lot of people's opinions one of the better horror movies for 2024, but I really had zero information on what this movie was about besides the movie title. So I just started to watch it just raw, like no background information, no nothing. And I promise you, I had the volume up enough, but I just felt like I could not hear without the subtitles. Like, you know how it is sometimes, like you spend so much time sitting there trying to remember, the movie sitting there going on and on, like giving you key scenes that you should be paying attention to. I'm sitting there trying to remember what they said 5 scenes ago in some conversation between a couple of characters. Like that's the type of thing. Like, so it kind of takes you out of the movie when you can't really exactly hear what everybody was saying. Like, I would have understood the movie much more from the get-go if I could actually understand what the hell they were saying. And like I said, y'all drop that down below on what you thought of the movie Oddity. Me personally, giving this movie a rating, I would give this movie roughly about a 7 out of 10. I think it is very solid. And that does sort of put it in the range of some of the better horror movies for this year. So I definitely can agree with that in that aspect. I just wouldn't necessarily say that this was a top tier movie for either this year or just really dang near any year for horror in general. It's just a pretty solid movie, and as far as recommending it, I probably would recommend for someone to watch this, especially over like overrated ass movies like Long Legs and whatnot from this year. So yeah, for sure, y'all definitely should watch this over movies like that. And of course, y'all know I didn't forget, this is the last question for the Blu-ray giveaway that we'll be doing at the end of this month. And the question that I have for you all is, what is Eleven's birth name in the Netflix series Stranger Things? And just to clarify, I'm not talking about the actress's name. I'm not talking about Millie Bobby Brown. I'm talking about what is her birth name that was given to her for the character 11 in the series Stranger Things. So y'all drop that down below. Like I said, for all my new watchers and viewers, y'all go ahead, subscribe to the kid. A couple subs away from that 1K, so y'all go ahead, help your boy hit his goal. And y'all like the video, comment down below what you thought of Oddity. And as always, y'all already know, Spooky Gang, y'all stay blessed and y'all stay spooky.